Yeah.
Yeah.
Music sounds so good after nearly a month away. Welcome, everybody, to the first People's Pre-Fight Show of 2024. Yes, the UFC is back at the world's most famous Apex for UFC Vegas 84. As you can see, the faces of the headliners, or at least you did see, Magomed, Ankalaev, and Johnny Walker will close the show. All in all, pretty good card. We did lose a really good fight on this one, but it happens. It happens a lot here in our crazy sport. I am Mike Heck, and joining me as always, I'm curious to see how many times the chair spins around the baddest stash at MMA, the one and only Casey Leydon. Let's see. Ooh, a quarter spin? Not even.
I'm just sad. I'm heartbroken. The card's still good, but my heart.
Manel Cop got you down, eh?
Yeah. We talked so much about him on the preview show. So much. It was the Manel Cop preview show, and then just.
And now he's in pretty tough position right now. He really is. And I ended up doing.
Bad luck. Yeah, it just sucks.
I ended up recording like a quick 8-minute, because we did the whole freaking preview show talking about Manel Cop, talked about him missing weight, found out the fight was going to happen. And then after the preview show ends, we found out the fight's off. So I had to do like a quick reaction on the podcast network. But I think we talked about this on the preview show as well. I have no issue with Mateus Nicolau declining this fight if that's what actually happened. Because that's what Manel said. He said, he decided not to take the fight. No issue with this whatsoever. I feel almost the same way. I feel almost pretty much exactly the same way I felt when Wonder Boy turned down the Michel Pereira fight after he missed weight. No issue with this whatsoever. So it stinks for Manel Cop. Basically could have gotten himself a title fight with a win, but it's unfortunate.
So I'm going under the assumption everything Manel Cop said on his own Instagram post was true. I'm going to that assumption. And basically, my summarizing is that he basically had a virus like a lot of people have right now. A lot of people are sick right now. It really messed up his training. His coaches wanted him to pull out of the fight. He insisted, I'm still going to do it. But because of his illness, he couldn't make the weight. Is that pretty much what I'm hearing? Right?
That's pretty much what he said.
Okay.
But then he said Nicolau didn't take the fight.
Yeah, and he offered, I don't know if he formally offered his entire fight purse to Nicolau just to take the fight, and Nicolau did not. He would have offered. I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. Like I would have given him the whole thing, but
the whole thing. But question for you: Is it better for a fighter just to pull out of the fight and like 3 days out, just pull out and just say, "Hey, I'm sick. I can't fight. I can't make weight. I can't fight," and that's it? Or is it better to go through this whole kind of whatever Manel Cop went through right now? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. It's probably like a case-by-case basis. For the position Manel is in, knowing that a win probably gets him a title fight.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's tough. Do you try, like when you're really sick and, you're 2-3 weeks out from the fight and you're super sick and you got this virus and everybody around you is telling you not to fight, do you just say like, all right, let's call the UFC? And I mean, look, it's not a pay-per-view fight. This isn't a pay-per-view main event. Mm-hmm. UFC could have pushed it back a few weeks if they asked. You know what I mean? Maybe you do that and the fight still happens. They both make weight and they still fight. But I think Manel thought he could do it. But I mean, he took the risk. Everyone around him told him, don't do this. Let's pull out. And now we're here. And Mateus Nicolau did come out and put out his own statement saying, essentially, the only person responsible for this fight not happening is Manel Cop himself. It's the duty of the martial arts to fulfill this obligation of making weight the day before the fight. I went through that entire war. I've been cutting weight for 5 weeks now with the restrictive diet, focused on Christmas, New Year, and my birthday on a diet, training and spending time away from my family. Today, I woke up at 5 a.m. to finish the process, waited at 126, which was needed for the fight. Cap did not. Showed up for the weigh-in with 30 minutes left. So there was no time for the UFC to ask him to cut more weight. Shows up 3.5 pounds over, knowing that if he weighed 0.5 pounds more, the fight would automatically suspended by the athletic commission. In other words, in my opinion, he tried to gain an unfair advantage.
I don't believe that part.
The system. Cop was irresponsible, reckless, and disrespectful. He disrespected me as a colleague, opponent, and martial artist, disrespected MMA, disrespected the UFC, disrespected companies that support the sport. But above all, he disrespected you, the UFC fan, the MMA fan, the Mateus Nicolau fan, the Manel Cop fan. I gotta say, well, I don't believe all of this.
The guy was sick.
This is an excellent promo on social media from Mateus Nicolau.
I've never heard that man talk so much. That was beautifully written. Jeez.
Shout out to Guillermo Cruz for translating it all. But I mean, think about how Nicolau handled this situation and how Cop handled the Alex Perez situation. Two totally different ways of handling it. It was wild. So it sucks, man. It sucks.
Perez came in way over, right? Is that?
I think he made it, and then he got
What am I thinking of? What am I thinking? Then Cop fight someone came overweight. Okay, no, don't worry about it. Sorry, I might be mistaken. It's a different fighter.
Perez got hospitalized the day of the fight. Something bad happened in the locker room, and Cop basically just destroyed him for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And now Cop's just gonna have to. I mean, look, Cop's just gonna have to fight. He's just not gonna get a title shot after another win. He's gonna have to win 2, maybe 3.
It sucks. It's I wish Manel Cop a week out called the UFC matchmakers, said, "Hey, he trains in Vegas. Go down to PI, talk to your doctors. Look, I feel like ass. I'm actually sick. I can't even fight because I'm contagious right now. Can we move this fight to the Anaheim card a month later?" I like Toronto card would be great, but obviously you have visa issues. Probably that won't happen. But they're
Anaheim going to Apex
card,
February 3rd and February 10th.
Oh yeah, a week from now. Yeah, 2 weeks from now. Yeah, that's the stupid part. I'm kind of annoyed at that. This fight could have just been moved easily, and then Nicolau and Cop would have had to do a pointless weight cut because Cop still had to cut weight to whatever, even 3.5 pounds over. He was still trying to cut weight, but unfortunate.
Yeah,
bummer. All right.
Brandon Moreno, the clubhouse leader right now.
Oh man,
unbelievable.
Got it on my system. All right,
it's People's Pre-Fight Show. Let's hear from the peeps. We're gonna go. We started a little bit late, so we'll go until the first fight actually starts. And considering we lost a fight, I would assume we're probably gonna be waiting a hot minute for the first fight to start.
All right. Here we go.
Do you think if Walker beats Magomed, the UFC is more likely to give him the title shot over Hill as compared to if Magomed wins, he might not get the title shot due to his quote-unquote issues with Dana? What do you think about this? Do you think a Walker win is more of a quote-unquote no-brainer than Ankalaev, or does it depend on how either fighter wins?
I think Walker, no matter how he wins, unless it's like legendary boring. But I think if Walker wins, he could leapfrog Hill depending on his injury. Magomed would need something spectacular, I think. Like basically a first round knockout finish, I would think. Or just a highlight type of finish for people to get that kind of, I don't want to say the stink of the last fight of the title fight out. Was that the last fight? Was it the draw?
Walker and Magomed fought.
Oh yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, that fight. But I won't count that as a no contest. But to get the stink out of that kind of title fight, that wasn't that bad. But for some reason, Dana really insists it was the worst fight he's ever seen in the history of fights. So Magomed needs something super big. Walker just needs something not the worst ever. Does that make sense?
I think I mean, look, I think it depends on how it's done. Because if Johnny Walker was not in the best graces with the UFC either after the Anthony Smith fight, because he could have finished Anthony Smith in that third round if he actually tried to, but he was just content, just kind of cruising to a win, and Dana wasn't overly thrilled with that either. So I think if we get a nasty, crazy first round finish, maybe. It all depends on Alex Pereira. If Alex Pereira is I want to fight in May, then it will be very smart of either guy to be ready to fight in May. It all depends on Alex Pereira. But if Alex is just nah, I'm going to take a little bit of time. I'm a little, who knows what happened after the Yuri fight? Maybe he was a little dinged up. We don't know. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, he's definitely fighting UFC 300. We don't know what his schedule looks like right now. So it all kind of depends on availability. If Pereira wants to fight in like April, if he does want to fight at 300, maybe. If he wants to fight in May, maybe. But if we get later than that, I think the UFC and Pereira are just going to say, nah, let's just wait for Jamal Hill. Because if Jamal Hill is cleared to train, from what I'm hearing, April, May-ish, he could start training again. And if Jamal Hill can get back in there by July, August, then maybe Pereira just waits for Jamal Hill at that point. So I don't know. It's all based on when Pereira is ready to fight again, I guess would be my answer. And then on top of that, it's going to depend on the performance of whoever wins this fight.
So we got nothing for you.
Pretty much. Because we just have no idea what Pereira is going to do right now. We have no idea what he's like. He says he's back, but that could mean a million things.
And that's kind of the bummer with a lot of, like, I feel like Apex main events is like, this fight could be for the next title fight. It's always could be. It's never like, it's so rare that we get like, oh, the winner of this is definitely getting a title fight. We're like, well, we'll see what happens. It's a lot of we'll see what happens. That's like, yeah.
Apex cards are leafy greens, right? You need the energy from the crowd. It's just what it is. What it is. These are just going to be there as long as the UFC has to fulfill the amount of volume that they are contractually obligated to fulfill. So I don't think the Apex is going anywhere.
No, UFC is good at making money, and they're not putting these cards on the Apex because they're not making lots of money from it. Like, there must be an extremely high profit margin for these UFC Apex cards. And I think more about Apex cards, I think we're kind of, are we going to get a full Contender Series? Basically, are Apex cards going to be just Contender Series cards, like with a main event? It's pretty soon, which it kind of are, but I feel like by the end of the year, 2024, 2025, it's no point even complaining about Apex cards. They're here for a while, and this is what it is.
There's like 120 contracts given out on that show. So yeah, we're eventually going to get to a point where we're going to get an Apex card where maybe every fighter came off one of the reality shows, whether it's Looking for a Fight, Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter. I mean, they give out like 30 contracts every season of the Contender Series. And I would say, look, I actually think this crop this past season was pretty good. Like, overall, pretty good. And we're going to see a couple of those guys competing tonight. But they still give out contracts to people who are nowhere near ready to fight the UFC. Like, in lots of them. So, yeah, we're going to get to that point eventually.
Yeah. All right.
Are you a fan of pineapple on pizza?
I absolutely love pineapple on pizza. If it's done right, it tastes great. I don't understand the issue. If you don't like it, don't eat it. I don't get it. What's the big deal?
Yeah. Jose just does not like people with pineapple on pizza. I think that's him. Pineapple and bacon's a pretty good combo.
Sweet and savory. It's a great combination. I don't understand. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Whatever. There's a lot of things I don't like on pizza. You just move on.
Is that my first choice to order? But if I go to somebody's house and someone orders pineapple and bacon pizza, I'm having a slice. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, and if you put like really good fresh pineapples on it and just do it, I like it. I don't know.
Grill them up nice.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Rose versus Amanda Hebus fight? So it is official now, March 23rd. That is the main event in the world's most famous Apex. We're going to see Rose Namajunas fighting in the Apex against Amanda Hebus. I like the fight. I think it's good matchmaking.
The fight, it's a great fight. It's the weight that's the thing. It's flyweight, right?
It's at 125. Yep.
I thought in our rankings we decided Amanda Hebus was a strawweight again. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't think I think I still have her ranked in both because of situations like this, which you can't turn down this opportunity.
No.
She goes out there and bangs up Rose, like in a main event fight. She's in a really good position. Really good
Do
spot.
do you? I know this is a flyweight fight, but are we really just? Is this really just a strawweight fight where they don't have to cut weight? So we're actually going to see maybe the best performance from the both of them. I mean, I mean,
Maybe.
okay. Well, I guess what I'm
Rose
trying to
is
say,
actually a flyweight now.
I'm
So
trying. Or I'm gonna, if Heba say Heba's wins, would you expect her to be like at the top? Her next fight to be like in the top 3 or 4, like one fight away as far in strawweight. Like would this count as like moving up in the strawweight division? I
maybe
think we
we
I think
might
we seen that way.
like kind of it Andrade-ish, where
Yeah, like
she's like
if you
winning
beat
gold
Andrade at
divisions.
flyweight, you kind of beat her at strawweight too. I guess.
Maybe. I feel like the line at 115 is shorter than 125 right now. 125, there's a little bit of a longer line right now. Plus, Hebus has a pretty bad loss to Macy Barber. A great fight, but she got battered by Macy Barber. So, but still, you beat Rose, at least in the UFC's eyes, you're in a good spot. So,
Oh hell yeah, yeah, and you're strawweight beating Rose. I mean, who did Rose who did Rose just lose to? Manon? Furo?
man, if you're
Yeah, Manon Furo. And remind me how that fight went. I know Rose didn't get her butt kicked, but
no, it wasn't a bad performance. Like
it was
she
just
did okay, but it was, to me, it was pretty clear that Manon beat her. You could make a 29-28 case for Manon, but I didn't see Rose winning that fight. No.
yeah. But it also wasn't one of those fights to go, oh, if they fought 100 times, Manon wins all 100. It was just kind of like, okay, Manon won that night. That's kind of how I remember it. And it was obviously Rose's first fight at flyweight ever, I think. So yeah, I wish this fight was at strawweight. That's all. But cool. I like the fight. One of those I was one of those like, oh, they haven't fought yet. I was kind of surprised actually.
Yeah, it's good to see Rose back. Looks like she's hungry. So
That would be cool. Hungry. Like that'd be nice having Rose kind of not missing for like 9 months at a time. Hopefully she's back in the rotation and win or lose, she's active as far as like staying in there because MMA and UFC is more exciting with Rose Namajunas.
yeah, 2 fights in 6-7 months. It's pretty good.
Our obligatory UFC 300 question.
What is your thoughts on the 7 fights of UFC 300 so far? Jim effing Miller is the 7th fight. God, when we get to I don't know if I've ever been more excited about a full lineup being announced than UFC 300, because at this point, while it's fun to play the game, I'm kind of getting tired of playing the game at this point, where it's just nonstop 300 talk about trying to fill this in. But here's what we have so far. We have Jim effing Miller. I'm going to say Jim Miller versus Paul Felder. That's what you do at UFC 300. Zhang and Yan, Prochazka, Rakic, Oliveira, Sarukian, which is chef's kiss. Cater Sterling is great. Bo Nickel is on the card for obvious reasons. And Davis and Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt is a pretty damn good fight put on this card. So far, so good in my eyes. But my expectations at this point are not through the roof. I wasn't expecting Ronda and Brock and GSP and Jones DC3 on this card. I just didn't see it. Once they announced Conor McGregor wasn't fighting on this card, then it was just like, all right, we're just going to have like a really good card, but not a spectacular, holy shit, I can't believe this person is fighting card. You know what I'm saying? But so far, like, these are all good fights.
But it just feels like a pay-per-view card, right? It just feels like it's just
Like a good one.
Is it okay? Is it?
You
Okay.
don't think so?
If it just feels like it feels like a decent. Like I said, this could be 301, 302. It just feels like a good Vegas card, honestly.
But there's no bad fight here so far. Like there's not. I mean, Bo Nickel, we know what Bo Nickel's there for, but you need guys like this. They just same reason Sage Northcutt fought at 200. You want to put same reason John Jones fought at 100. Like you use these cards to catapult new talent that you think has a bright future. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But we get a title fight that we expected. Prochazka Rakic, high stakes fight. Oliveira Sarukian, super high stakes. Cater Sterling is a really interesting stylistic matchup. And we're going to get a ton of questions answered. And then Figgy Garbrandt is like a fight we've wanted to see for a while. because these two just got to go out there and chuck them at each other until somebody falls down. So, but again, we don't know what the rest of the card looks like yet. We don't know what's going to be the main event. We don't know how we're going to fill out the rest of it. But still, like, there's not a there's no. There's contender series fighters on here, but it's not just like rando contender series fighters stepping in just to fight on a card. I feel like every fight is going to have at least one notable name on it where the stakes are, we can see the stakes in each fight.
Yeah, and that's true. I think that's gonna be true, but like it sucks that we've kind of lowered our expectations for UFC pay-per-views, because that used to be mandatory, I feel like, for pay-per-view cards. What you just said, oh, every fight, there's something I'm interested in. That's got a storyline. That means something. And now we're like, well, that's a great card because the fights mean something. And that's just unfortunate with all the UFC cards. That's just
exactly.
Yeah.
It's twofold. One is there's too many cards.
It's too many.
I mean, or you just have to fill so much. And the other is 2016. Like, think about 2016 in UFC 200. The amount of like actual stars that were on the roster were ginormous. Like, Conor McGregor fought 3 times in 2016. Nate Diaz became a star in 2016. We got freaking Brock Lesnar back, Jones in DC, all like everything. Ronda was still fighting. We had so much. Miesha Tate had just won the belt, and she was like a pretty budding star already. And then she won the belt in the way that she won it. And it was just like, wow. And they just had so many names, like so many stars you could build upon. They don't have that right now. They have one. They have Conor. That's it. And John is kind of there, but he's not even, he can't fight because he's hurt. Izzy kind of there, but we don't know what's going on with him.
Coming off a loss. Yeah.
Coming off of a loss. They don't have, like, the star power in 2016 was just gigantic. That's why they sold for $4 billion. They don't have that now.
Isn't it the weirdest kind of, I don't know, thing about the UFC? That you're saying everything you said is true, but yet at the same time, you can also say the UFC has never been bigger.
For sure.
But that's so the UFC, like, whatever their game plan on their business model was, like how the UFC is always going to be the biggest star over actual fighters. We're seeing it right now.
Yeah.
The UFC is bigger than it's ever been, but yet there's less stars than it feels. Yeah. It feels like there's less stars than there's ever been too. Is that
yes,
it? That's a weird dynamic. I'm not really.
The UFC is WrestleMania. I don't care who's wrestling at WrestleMania. I'm watching it every year. Doesn't matter. Like, the WrestleMania brand is what sells it for me, and that's what the UFC is now. They are the star. Dana is the star of the UFC right now. He's the face of the company. In a lot of ways, he was early on, and then we got stars, so we didn't really have to be as much. But now it's like the brand is the star, and they're just printing money right now. They're so red hot right now. They don't need a star. Like, they don't need a star. But basically, what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks is, like, we just need to slow our roll with the expectations for this card. Like, just expect like a really good pay-per-view card with like compelling fights that matter. Probably 3 title fights, but we're just not going to get Conor. We're not going to get Conor Nate. We're not going to get Conor or Nate or Masvidal or like any of those guys. Like, we're not going to get it. We're just going to get a solid card. Like, $299 is really, really good. We're going to get a card that is probably equal, maybe a nose ahead of what $299 is. That's what we're going to get.
Let me ask you a question. Why aren't we getting those fights?
What do you mean? What fights?
Say those big fights. Obviously, John, you can take John out. That's injury, you know. But why aren't we getting him? Is it because, to me, is because the UFC knows that the fan base will pay for this card no matter what?
Yes. Correct.
Or okay, that's it. Yeah, okay.
That's a big part of it. The number is going to sell. The UFC is going to put the promotional push behind it. But Conor and Chandler not headlining this card is so bizarre to me. It's so bizarre because Conor wants to fight at 300. And who knows? Dana could still come out and say, because even though Conor has announced it and Chandler is like, yeah, I'm fighting Conor on June 29th, the UFC has not acknowledged this fight at all. They have not said word one about this fight and the date, international fight week, etc. They haven't said anything about it. So could they come out and Dana's sitting in the war room saying, guess what? Conor McGregor's back. He's fighting Michael Chandler at UFC 300 because unfortunately for Michael Chandler, he has no say in the matter. Conor wants to fight at 300 and the UFC wants Conor to fight at 300. The Chandler's either fighting at 300 or he's not fighting Conor McGregor.
Or someone else is going to fill in.
So yeah, the fact that fight is not on this card is baffling to me, but it also tells us like, hey, we think 300 is just going to sell no matter what we give them. And then we'll get 2 bites of the apple by having Conor fight 2 months later, which is nice, nuts.
Tell me what you think of this.
UFC 299 by a mile, huh?
Oh, let's take away by the mile. It's just 299 right now versus 300. Assuming 300 is, let's give 300 a main event. Let's give it Leon Bilal. Let's just say that's because obviously it's missing a main event. So,
okay,
but
that I don't think that's going to be the main event unless it's the only option available. I do agree with Jed 100% that I think that whoever wins at 297 is going to be asked to headline 300 against Israel Adesanya. I don't think we're going to get Pereira versus Adesanya. I think we're going to get Izzy fighting either DDP or Sean Strickland at UFC 300. That'll be the main event. Leon Bilal, the co-main event. Yan Xiaonan challenging Zhang Weili will be the featured fight. Oliveira Sarukian is a main card fight. And then there's going to be more. Like, there's going to be more to this that we don't even know about yet. So that's still pretty good. And we still have, 8 fights to be announced? Jim Miller, Paul Felder is just going to be like an early prelim fight if they do that. 299 is super good. Sean O'Malley, Marlon Vera, good. That's a rivalry fight. To me, I would have liked to have seen this move to 300. And you could do Leon versus Bilal headlining 299. Like, by the time we get to that card, like Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint-Denis, everyone's gonna be like, holy shit, this fight's happening. Gilbert Burns, Jack Della Maddalena, good fight. Curtis Blades, Jelton Almeida, good fight. Petr Yan, Song Yudong, Kevin Hall, Michael Page, Pedro Munoz, Kyler Phillips. You get like CJ Vergara, Astu Almabayev, like cool fight on paper. You're not going to see any fights like this at 300. You're not going to see a CJ Vergara at 300. You're not.
Kevin Holland and MVP, doesn't that feel like I should be in 300 too?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least like given some sort of a rub instead of like the announcement. Pedro Munoz, Kyler Phillips is not going to be a 300. It's a cool fight, but it's not going to be a 300.
Yeah, and that's a good fight that makes sense to be in this card. Yeah.
That's not a 300 fight. That's a good fight. Gamrot, RDA, good fight. Pereira, Oleksiejczuk, not a 300 fight. Good fight. Yeah. And then Robella Despagde, who I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'll figure it out eventually. He's fighting Josh Parisian, and I think we know what the UFC is hoping happens on that card because Robellis is 35, but he's a freak of nature. He's this big, gigantic Cuban heavyweight with like an 87-inch reach who has a Taekwondo background, just finishes dudes in like 16 seconds every time he fights. So it's really good. Like, it's a really good card. I'm excited for this 299 card. I think by the time we get the full 300 lineup and we look at everything involved from, do we know this guy or not? Do we know this gal or not? What are the stakes compared to this fight? I do think 300 is going to be a more meaningful card in terms of stakes and what these fighters are all fighting for. Are we going to get a fun one like a Miller Felder? Certainly. Like something like that that's just kind of cool and fun and like, let's just throw this in there. It's going to be fun. But at least it's 2 fighters you know. It's not, you don't get all that with 299, even though I love this card. I'm not shitting on 299 at all, but to say 299 is better than 300 by a mile when we only know less than half the card right now, it's a little too soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't say by a mile, but yeah, right now I do like 299 better, but it's subjective. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
No. All right.
299, like 299 is shaping up to be like, here's what I'll say. I think by the time we get to 300 on March 2nd, if we have the full UFC 300 card, I think that more people will say 300 is the better lineup. I do think people will say that. In execution, though, I do think people will be like, damn, 299 was way better than 300. Because when you throw in a Leon and Bilal, and you throw in maybe a Strickland Adesanya, and even to some extent a Zhang Weili, Yan Zhounan, when you have 3 title fights on a card, even though the betting lines are going to be swaying one way, especially in the Zhang Weili, Yan Zhounan fight, like Zhang Weili is a pretty massive favorite. Yan's tough. Like, Yan is still very good.
I love that
We
fight.
could be living in a world where we have 3 title fights that all go to the cards. And that's tough. That could be sloggy if they're not like really excellent, competitive, compelling fights. So I don't know. I just want 300 to be done. I want to see what the full card is, please, so we can at least move on and get excited about them.
I will say for 300, I know I will be disappointed because I'm always expecting the UFC to do something creative and different with the production. It's a production, a new graphics package. I don't know, some cool, even the fight week, like the press conference, the weigh-ins. Something. I hope something's gonna be different that they've never done before, but I don't think we're gonna get that. So I know I will be kind of bummed out because of what 200 we got. You know, the yellow.
We got the gold cage.
Gold. The cage rage
Yellow.
cage. Yeah.
So
I was gonna say something even worse. Like, I was like, yeah, we'll call it yellow.
yeah, PP yellow.
The PP yellow. I wish I was in the boardroom, some kind of, when they were in their creative meeting, going, what are we gonna do to make 200 cool? Like PP yellow. Done. Next, moving on.
God.
But I like how you pointed out, though, I think BTL, how when the UFC announced the whole Brock thing, that was UFC 299.
Yeah, it's 199. It was less than a month.
I forget 199. 199
before 200.
I forget that because, of course, something else happened at 199. I'm not sure. Yeah, something else happened.
Even the Jones DC rematch wasn't announced until like late April. So it was like a little over 2 months before, and we're still 3 months away from 300. So we still get time, is what I'm trying to say.
Take me back a little bit. The Jones DC for 200, that was expected to be 200, right? It wasn't like out of the blue. Like that made sense, right? I mean, as far as the timing, I mean, yeah, I think
because remember Jones fought OSP in April. Remember that in that fight that was not very good.
Let's not talk about that fight.
But at that time, at least how memory serves correctly, 7 years ago, we were all expecting Conor Nate 2 to headline 200. That was it. That was
the big one. Yeah. Okay. Now. Okay.
Then,
thank you for bringing back the memories. Okay. Now I remember. Yeah.
And then Conor was like, "Well, I'm on vacation or I'm overseas. Like, I'll do the press conference, but like, you have to pay me a whole bunch more money." And then the UFC's like, "All right, I guess you're not fighting, trying to play hardball." And Conor's like, "Bet, I won't fight." And then they're like, "Nate, fight this guy." And Nate's like, "No, I'm not fighting anybody else. I'm fighting this dude." So
what
they,
a silly time that was.
Like, came together, and then they're like, "All right, we'll do DC Jones," and then all that shit fell apart. Man, what was that week like? Like, I assume you were at 200.
Yeah, I was there. I was at MGM. Yeah.
Fight week to cover ever.
I remember me, Ariel, who was it? I think it was Shaheen, Esther. At that time, I think we had 4 people there, 4 or 5 people. And it might have been Mark. I think Mark Rondi was with us at the time. He works for some Connecticut sports blog now, if you're wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were all about to go out to dinner, and then we get a random text saying Jones is out. Like, it wasn't even like on the internet. It was like a text from someone that Ariel knows, and they actually they said the UFC is having a surprise press conference. I think that was Wednesday night. I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday night. So it was after, like, it was like around 8 or 9 local time. So it was late. It was like, everyone's like, what? You know, like we're like about to go to dinner. The night was done. We're packed up. Everyone's like, all right, because it's going to be a long week already. So we're kind of like, all right, first day's done. We're chill. And then like, nope. And then, so we go down to the MGM, one of the MGM ballrooms. And we've heard, like, people are kind of whispers about John Jones is out, but no confirmation. And so the UFC has a press conference set up in the ballroom. And we're just kind of sitting there for like half an hour with a couple of just PR people. And then, I think Nowitzki walks out with John, and John and who's John's manager at the time? Malky. And then, and then John, we heard the news. It was like, what? And then, of course, that was wild. That was a different, man. It was a different time. It was a different time. I don't know. It's hard to explain to new fans, even new MMA media members. It was different, man. I don't know how to explain it. It was just it was wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it.
That's crazy. I miss it. Now it's just it's like so common that this shit happens now. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
But yeah, 3 days before the fight, positive drug test. Man, that was insanity. What else we got? We got time too. They're still like in the booth right now. Like,
okay, so they haven't put a clock
they're
up.
at the desk. Yeah, they're at the desk going through like every main card fight. So we got time.
All right.
Grand Sumo tournament starts in about 2.5 hours. Might get a new Yokozuna after this tournament. Any obscure sports you guys are into?
Mixed martial arts.
That's pretty gosh darn.
Let me see. Oh, you know what? I'm really into high level badminton. I love watching go find some YouTube videos or something, like some high level badminton volleys. They're insane. I love like really high level badminton. I can't tell you who the top players are, but if I see a good badminton clip, I'll watch it. And I watch I follow an Instagram account of competitive air hockey. I like like, dude, these guys are intense. So wow. It's a competitive air, like high level air hockey and badminton. I guess those are my obscure sports I'm into. Anything?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, MMA is pretty obscure. Like,
I mean, yeah, I watch grappling.
Yeah, watch the grappling and the wrestling, and I watch kickboxing, golf. I love watching golf. It's not really obscure, but yeah, don't watch as much sports as I used to. You asked me this like 15 years ago. I watched freaking everything all the time, but yeah. When you're covering this sport and you're getting older, it's just like, okay, you got to choose your spots.
Yeah. See, look at Trent Daddy gets it.
Badminton so fast paced is not the slow backyard BBQ game. It's probably like ping pong, but just like bigger stuff.
It's like ping pong, but it's a lot more. Actually, it's a lot more athletic. You'll be kind of surprised like how much like it's really intense. Actually, in college, I was in a badminton club. And so I can't play at the level these guys did, but like, man, I would get whooped up by these like 110-pound like pre-med Indian students. Like they would whoop, because like it's kind of like their culture. They grew up playing a lot, and they would just rip me apart. I was like, man, they were so good. So I think I just developed an appreciation for the skill set that badminton provides. Badminton gives, but yeah.
What else we got? We could probably take a couple more.
Yeah.
Looks like the first fight is close to starting. What's up with Bo Nickel doing an interview saying he will be on the main card when he is on the early prelims?
Is he on the early prelims?
We don't know yet. We don't know the whole card yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
I don't think he's gonna be
do you think he should be in the main card? Yeah, no, I don't think he should.
Shouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
Not against Brundage. Yeah, if he was going against finally a name, I guess a name middleweight, then maybe in the prelims. I mean, maybe on the main card, but they're still the building up Bo Nickel phase.
He should be the first fight on the ESPN prelims. That's where he should be.
Yeah.
Get people tuned in early. Even he said it on the MAR, like more people watch the ESPN card than the pay-per-view, and he's not wrong.
I mean, yeah.
Like
whatever makes you feel better.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be on the main card.
Somebody said I sound squishy. What does that mean? I don't know what squishy
You
means.
sound squishy.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
Casey's voice sounds squishy. I'm like, it got me. I was like, what? I was like, oh, wait, is that it? Oh, I don't know. It got me confused.
I don't know. I don't know.
No one's ever told me that. All right. Man, see, look at this. The people are coming out. They know. They know.
I love playing it. I love playing it.
Yeah. La 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 la. Hey, oh.
We can. All right, we got. Will we see Skinny Mike in 2024? God, I hope so. God, I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll see. There will come. I'll just leave it at God. I hope so. I don't even know what like tomorrow's gonna look like. So, you ready to do some predictions? You think, or do we have any other?
Yeah, flying
things.
Yeah, I think.
Oh God. Question: will Weston Wilson win today? Probably not.
Who's he fighting?
He's fighting John Silva, is he not? Yeah, he's fighting John Silva. John Silva is like a minus 1,000 favorite.
Yeah.
No, he's probably going to get knocked out in the first round. Would be my guess.
Why is Weston Wilson in the UFC?
Because he took a short notice fight.
Is that simply it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Weston's a guy I interviewed a while back, probably in like 2016, honestly. Maybe a little, maybe it was like 2018, 2019. He was on a nice little run. He was knocking on the door and then suffered some losses. And then kind of got to the point where he's like, well, he's probably not going to be in the UFC. And then all of a sudden he's in the UFC. So, and now like once you get there, the way that you did, unless you go out there and just destroy somebody, these are the types of positions you're going to be in. You're going to be kind of on the other side of what the UFC perceives to be a squash match. And that is what the betting odds are suggesting here, with John Silva being a minus 900 favorite. The under 1.5 is minus 330. So people are expecting this to end very quickly. No, I don't think he's going to win today. It'd be cool. It'd be pretty shocking if he does, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, and according to Tapology, he is the biggest underdog with only 6% of his friends and family pick. Oh, no. Actually, the very first fight, the guy facing Van is actually has even lower odds according to the picks on Tapology. But he's a close second.
Yeah, Joshua Van minus 305 for this opening bout. I like Josh Van a lot. I think he's a guy to absolutely keep an eye on.
Man, flyweights are gonna be fun. Josh Van almost seems like a younger cop to me. I think the way he fights, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. Tom Nolan's on this card. Dude is electric.
Yeah. I don't know very much about Tom Nolan, but I know you and Jeb are very high on him. Tell me more.
He is a super big, young, violent cat. He is so big. As a lightweight, he's gigantic, a 6'3", 55er.
Oh my goodness!
And uses his range very well. Raw, dude. Like he is very raw. He's a bit green. Obviously, when you watch his fights, you see the potential in this guy. Like this guy, when he puts it together, is going to be a problem.
6'3", only 23. Yeah.
He's gonna get there. I don't have Sarukian vibes with him. I don't. Like when I saw Sarukian fight at like 2021, I was like,
oh boy,
this guy's going to be a UFC champion. Like he's going to be a UFC champion. Then he goes in, finally signs to the UFC, and he takes Islam Makhachev, gives him a really tough fight. And I was just like, all right, this guy's still going to win a UFC title. I don't have that same vibe with him yet, but I do have the boy. Once he puts it all together, like he's going to be around for a while. Wait, he's in the second fight, so you're gonna see for yourself.
Yeah.
And this is a really good opponent. Like this is how the UFC feels it. Like John Silva was a guy that the UFC was obviously very high on coming off the Contender Series. They're giving him Weston Wilson. They're giving Tom Nolan Nicholas Moda, who has been around for a hot minute. for his first fight. So it just shows you what the UFC thinks of Tom Nolan. 23 years old. Dude is a fucking piston, man. He's a problem.
Mota, his last fight was he was the one that the finish Ogden, right? And then, or is he, which end was he on? It was the weird early stoppage, right?
Yeah.
But he was the one about to win the fight, right? It was Trejo was going to lose, and
I don't remember the whole thing. Let me see. I know Guy talked to him.
Was that the one that
Trey was winning. Trey was winning the fight.
It was Trey winning.
He won the first 2 rounds. He was about to win the third, and then it was the arm triangle. Mota put him in Ogden put Mota in a arm triangle, and Mota. Mike Beltran thought he wasn't defending it. Thought he was out. And stopped the fight. So Ogden was going to win. Like he was supposed to win, and then was like, if that submission had carried on for the rest of the fight, it probably would have gotten a tap. So instead of getting a finish and maybe getting a bonus and getting a win, he gets nothing. He got nothing at all. So.
Okay, I the other way around. Yeah, now I do remember it now. Okay, I do remember that. Yeah, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it shouldn't have gone to the cards," but because of the way the rule set is, yeah. So the UFC rewarded Mota by having him face Tom Nolan.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's very much how it works.
Fight of the night prediction. What do you got? Or bonuses? What do you have?
Bonuses. Jim fucking Miller.
Yep.
Performance bonus. Another performance bonus. I'm gonna give it to Tom. I'm gonna go Tom Nolan.
Good call.
Just because I think they like him and the UFC likes pushing their bonuses, even though to big favorites if they're kind of like their guy. And fight of the night will go to. Man, I don't know. I don't know, actually. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna go with main event. I'm hoping we get something we've never quite seen with Ankalaev, and we're gonna get like a really exciting, good battle with Johnny Walker. I'm just really being positive.
I'm gonna go Tom Nolan. I'm gonna go Bruno Ferreira. I'm gonna go Jim Miller, Mowgli Benitez fight of the night.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna get after in round 1. I think Miller weathers the storm, gets momentum in round 2, and then he knocks him out in the second. But the first round is just gonna be insane. So, I'll go with that. This is probably gonna be a card where it's just like 4 performance bonuses and no fight of the night. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. But Fareed Basharat and Taylor Lapilus is a fight that like could steal the show. But it's kind of early in the card, so I don't know if it gets it.
I don't know who gets the performance bonus, but I'm going to go. Actually, I'm going to change my pick to no fight of the night, but either Hawes or Ferrer are getting a performance bonus. Not fight of the night, but one of them is going to finish the other person very devastatingly. Yeah.
Someone's
I'm not sure who, but
someone's getting got.
Someone's getting got.
Someone's definitely getting got. All right, main card picks. We start in the heavyweight division. Casey Leydon, we have Andrei Arlovsky taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta. Who gets it done?
God bless Andrei Arlovsky. This is going to be 15 minutes that we're going to just watch and then we're going to forget about. And Waldo Cortez Acosta will win a tepid unanimous decision.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. So that's where I'm at.
I'm hoping not.
We got Bruno Ferreira versus Phil Hawes. You already know my pick. I'm going Bruno Ferreira. First round knockout, but these two are going to just club each other around until somebody goes to sleep.
I still believe in Phil Hawes. So I'm going Phil Hawes KO round 1. I'm a believer.
We have Ricky Simone versus Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista on a nice run. Ricky Simone coming off of a pretty dominant loss to Song Yadong. Who you got here?
Ricky Simone with a workmanlike dominant decision victory.
I have Samoan by decision too, but I'm really, really intrigued by this fight, maybe more than any other on the card, because Mario's got tools. He's got skills. I've been hearing about him for a long time. This is his test. Like, we're going to see how good he is. If he's a top 10 bantamweight, we're going to find out tonight. If he's just a really good 35er, then we'll find that out too. But we're going to get a lot of answers about Mario Batista and his future tonight. I assume we're both going Jim Miller at the finish here.
Jim Miller.
Positive vibes for 300.
Yeah, I'm going to go submission round 2.
And then the main events. Magomed Ankalaev, gigantic favorite. Let's see where he is at right now. Minus 520. The comeback on Johnny Walker plus 390. What do you got?
On every card, there's always that one fight where you go, man, couldn't have predicted that. No way. I guess MMA is such a wild sport. So I'm going to go with that one for this fight, and I'm picking Johnny Walker, first round KO.
Jeez. That'd be insane. I think for our viewership pleasure, that's like the best thing that could happen. But I'm just going with what I think is going to happen, and I think we're going to get Magomed Ankalaev in a Thiago Santos like 50-45.
You put it out there. You put it out there.
Please, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this fight doesn't get to round 3, but this is kind of just what my gut's telling me. Magomed he's had 2 straight fights that have no decision behind him at all. We have a split draw and a no contest. I think this dude's gonna go in there and try to get a win. And the small cage. Last time we saw Ankalaev,
you're right.
We got the Santos fight, so
you're right. I did. You know what? I did not account for that. Johnny Walker stuck in a small cage with Ankalaev. I did forget about that. That's not good for Johnny Walker. Man, my prediction is total ass.
I'm kind of rooting
I'm sticking with it though. I'm sticking. I'm going with my heart. All right.
Hit the music. Josh Van and Bunez they're just scrapping.
They're starting already. Yeah, gotta get out of here. I gotta watch that fight.
About 3 minutes in the first round. So,
sorry.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you after the fights for the first post-fight show of 2024.
Yeah.
For Casey, I am Mike Keck. Enjoy the festivities. The UFC is back, everybody. We'll see you later on.
My voice is squishy.
Squishy voiced human being, you.